Okay, I am recording this video to discuss about this book that I finished last night. It's called The God of Small Things by Arundati Roy. It's one of the most famous Indian books I've heard about, and I don't know why it took me so long to finish it. Why it took me so long to get to this book when I have been reading books like half of my life. And I was kind of skeptical at first about reading Indian books because I found them very tough to read, to be honest. Like most of them, which are literary fiction, it was tough for me to read them for at first. Like writers like Amitav Ghosh, when I was younger, I bought him when I was 18 years old, and I found it kind of hard to read him at that time. I was more into dystopian and fantasy kind of world making and books at that time. So now, after a lot of time and a lot of contemplation, I got down to read him. And after that, I fell in love with literary fiction, and then I wanted to just read about Indian authors and Indian stories. I think they come under the genre of post-colonial literature, and I loved it. So after I finished it, I ordered a bunch of other Indian novels written by Indian authors, which were also I think they are mostly post-colonial. They are all written by Indian authors, are all Indian books about Indian people, and I've read quite a few of them. जैसे कि I read M in the Big Home by Jerry Pinto, and I finished The Shadow Lines. I loved it, loved it, loved it. And then I bought a bunch of Indian books, but I'm still to read them. But in the meantime, it was my birthday, and I was gifted The God of Small Things, and I finished it. And I have to say that I think it's been really long that I've read a book like this, which has a language of its own, which can make you forget anything else that you've read in your life and makes you hope like you could write like the author, like Arundati Roy, how she wrote it, how she wrote that book, and how did I take so long to get here to like read my country's most famous author when I've read people who have been dead for 200 years. So, why did I take so long to get here? Part of the reason is how Indians don't have a reading habit. So, even the generation before us, we talk to our parents, our relatives, our grandparents for it for each its own, but like especially in my case, I'm the first reader. Nobody read books, and everybody looked down on the kids who read books because they think they are like just wasting their time, and they should rather be studying their coursework. So that's what I got for reading books in my house. But the thing is that if you really want to do something, nobody can stop you from doing that. So I really wanted to read, I enjoyed it, and I think I had no friends. So at that time, books came to me as the only friend that I had. So why do I always diverge from the topic that I was talking about? The thing is that I loved this book, The God of Small Things. It spoke to me in a different way. It was about siblings, it was about mothers, it was about love, it was about loss, it was about generations of women, it was about generations of men, it was about everything that is so Indian in the world, like pickles and pickle factory and abroad cousins and you know running away from home. And well, in our case, it didn't end so tragically. I don't want to give any spoilers to anybody who has not read the book and still wants to read it, but I think if you have not read the book and you are a reader, then you should read the book, because I have not read anything like this. I think Arundhati Roy also said this in one of her interviews I watched after finishing the book, that the reason she is able to think like this, like so differently than other author, is because she studied architecture, and whenever she think of books, the first images which comes to her mind are images. Like, she doesn't think in words, she thinks in images, and then she describes those images. That's why it's so real, and that's why it has such a lasting impression on you, because the images are still there long after you've finished the book. The images are still there, may they always be there, so they might always be there. That's the reason that she has the different kind of writing style than any other author I've ever read. Maybe because she first pictures things and then writes about them. And I want to read all of what she's written. I will soon enough. So this was the video log that I wanted to update. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.